If you'd like to follow the process of turning a block of wood like this into a guitar like this, then you've come to the right place. And if you would like to see me give this guitar away, click subscribe, hit the bell. Guitar that was abandoned for 2 years. Okay, do I do an inlay? One of these is what we're going to try and do.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that beautiful?
The back too. Honestly, I can't imagine how many hours it takes to do it. So it's just beautiful.
Well, good Friday morning. Welcome back to Let's Build a Guitar. This week, well, first thing I'm going to do is catch you up with where and how I ended up doing this inlay. This is what I was working on last week on that sample neck, and then this is what I've done so far. So let me catch you up with that. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is today I'm working on getting this thing sprayed up and clear coated, see how that goes. Well, this one definitely wasn't good enough. I think it's close enough that I know that I can do. So I'm going to put it on one of the Mr. X necks here. But first, I came up with a quick little design. I don't know how good this is going to be for my vacuum, but I need to hook up a hose so that I can suck away the dust that is coming around this when I'm trying to do my routing with my Dremel. So let's see how this works. This is 3M Post-it. You can print it and then peel it and stick it, and it's sticky like a Post-it sticky, but it's not sticky like really sticky glue, so I'm not going to leave big old residue on here. But I also think it's going to be sticky enough that it'll hold it in place because the whole thing has that Post-it stickiness to it. So we're going to give this a try. First, I found center on this, and then I'm going to mark where I want the two B's here to be on the 12th fret, so that they are of equal distance to the fret lines. And then I'll make a mark where those fret lines are. One of the things you're going to notice that I'm doing is I'm always trying to cut into the white. So as I come down these places here, I'm trying to stop in the white because the white on this is what's going to go away. So I'm not going to cut this way up on here. I'm going to cut this way into the white, because if I slip, then I make a line or a slice on my fretboard, which I don't want to have happen. I have carved it in there. I have penciled it in there. Now I'm going to try and freehand Dremel it here, and I've got a little suction machine to help me with my dust, so we'll see how this goes, eh? Get this thing sprayed now, getting it ready. I put a piece of glue, I put a dab of glue. I put a dab of glue into this little pit that was here, and now that's kind of bubbled up there. Don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to sand that off. Then I'm going to tape off my fretboard and get to spraying this. Now to take off my little spot, I'm going to start off with 800 grit sandpaper. If I find that this isn't taking off quick enough, I can always move to 600 grit, but I do like to start where I know it's safe. And then especially because I'm right by this edge, I want to be careful of that. And I'm putting an eraser in there to give me a flat surface to just kind of hold it on there, so I can just, what I want to do is just sand on this little bubble of solid glue here. Spray this. Now I am going to actually give this a couple layers of black before I put clear coat on over top once again. When I do that, if I'm going to spray, because this had clear coat on it, I've sanded it so that it'll adhere well. It's going to require me to make sure that I've got a good thickness of clear coat on it, so that I don't sand through the clear coat into the black into the other clear coat, because you will see that it'll just be this kind of a weird fine layer of like, what's going on here and why does that look like that? They'll both be black, but it'll have just kind of a strange appearance to it, and you'll be able to see it. So you got to make sure to get enough clear coat on if you do a layering like I'm doing with this. So FYI. Also, I'm going to be taping up my fretboard, and I'll start with the edges using this tape that I got from the auto body place. This is a pinstriping tape, and I'm really starting to like using this for my edges because it gives me a really crisp edge, and it seems to not bleed through near as much as what like frog tape or just painter's tape would do. So I'm getting kind of sold on this stuff. I don't know, maybe you guys want to try it out and see what you think, and leave a comment down below as to what you think about using this pinstriping tape. Works. I think it works pretty good so far. Just to get technical for a moment, I'm going to put the pinstriping tape just on the edge here, and then I'll just use regular painter's tape to cover the majority of the fretboard. Okay guys, when you first start spraying after, I've sanded and it's ready to spray again, basically starting with a dry surface, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray a very thin, light layer to just keep it tacky. Usually I just fast forward through my spraying, but I think for this time I'm going to actually just let you watch as I spray it so you can just see really about how light and how thin I'm actually spraying, because I'm really not trying to cover it right now. I'm just trying to get a tacky surface on there. And that's it. So just a light spray to get it tacky. And then I'm going to leave that with the poly shades anyway. I'll leave it for about half an hour and then come back. This is the Minwax poly shades that I'm using, which I really do like the outcome that I get with these. So I've been doing this by hand with a very, very, very tiny Dremel bit. I think it's the smallest one you can get. The smallest little Dremel bit that you can get is what I've been doing this with. It's coming along. It's slow. Yeah, I hope it turns out well. My plan is to use the Dremel and then to use some actual chisels, very small, fine chisels. Maybe even a little sandpaper in there. Is it gonna look like something that was done with a laser cutter? Probably not. But will it look good? Sure hoping so. Well guys, after right around 12 hours, I finally had gotten it to this point where I've got it carved by hand into there. Yeah, by hand using a Dremel, but freehanding it. That's how I've done it. So now I'm going to, I was looking for I went to the antique store and I was looking for a mortar and pestle so that I could grind up some of this mother of pearl inlay, the easy inlay, so I can make powder with it. My idea here, and we're going to find out if this works, so you're experimenting with me. My idea is make some powder with this easy inlay. That can be like the foundation down below. I'm like thinking on the big scale of like if I'm going to put in a sidewalk or I'm going to put in a patio, I'm going to put in sand, and then I'm going to put in some rock, and then I'm going to put in the bigger stuff over top of that. So I'm going to put some dust in there to allow for the flakes to move around and kind of situate in there. And then I'm going to put the bigger flakes on top, and then I'm going to put a little more dust over that to fill in some of those other little areas and cracks. And then we're going to solidify it with the glue boost and let it harden. In between these places, I've got these sharp blades that I got for, they're like a paint scraper blade. I got at the hardware store. I'm going to put those in all of these frets here, and I'm going to put some wax paper over them is my plan. So I'll have another one here yet. And this is so that I'm not filling these cracks full with the dust or the pearl at all. I'm hoping that's going to work. I've got to take those apart and do that. And then, so basically we're going to do each one of these as its own separate little entity, right? I was thinking about, again, just kind of thinking in the way of like if you're going to do a sidewalk and you use a vibrating thing to kind of shake all of the sand in. I was thinking, you know, do you remember those old football games? This is like from back in the 70s. There were these football games where you had these little football players, and you put them on this metal board, and the metal board would vibrate, and then they would move all over. I was thinking maybe I should go to the antique store and see if they have one of those, because if I could vibrate this, see how that moves? And if you had like a thing to like make it just vibrate in, get all of that dust and stuff to kind of settle in where it needs to be. I don't know that would be the best way to go about it. Well, maybe it would be the best way to go about it. I don't know. Now these are the bigger chunks, right? But I'm gonna put in some of the smaller dust on top of that now then yet. Just gotta make sure, see, I don't want any dips. I don't want any dips in there. And all these little tiny spots need to have some of the fine stuff in it, so. Let's just start getting a little bit of glue where it needs to be here. I got the wax paper on there to help me remove those blades out of there. I think that I've got all the glue soaked in where it needs to be here. If that's the case, then I'm going to use this Glue Boost Glue Dry Accelerator. Well, let's see how that dries. Got to let it sit for a while because I want it to dry all the way through before I start sanding it off. Well guys, everything that you see on this guitar neck, I now need to do the exact same thing on this guitar neck, which is going to take me a lot of hours. Probably another good 10, 12 hours or more. That was more. It was like, what, 14 hours I suppose that took me to do this? Anyway, hey, one last thing before I go today. And here it is, guys. This guitar has been completely resprayed. It's gonna be like brand spanking new when I'm done. Hopefully within the next week or 2 weeks here, this should be finished. Guys, if you want to bid on this guitar to help send wheelchairs over to Vietnam, you can go to my email address that's down below. It says XanderGuitarBuild@gmail.com. You can send me a bid on this. I'm going to announce it to the winner on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'm going to cut it off, and then on Friday you'll be able to see who actually got the high bid on it. Gonna go for a great charity, great cause, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. Keep fighting for joy. We'll see you next time.